So I'm going to speak on what we were speaking on last week, but I'm going to speak on what I'm going to speak on today. And then I got a little comedy in there too. I'm just a ball of everything this morning. So join in. Yeah. I don't know what it is this morning, but I can feel the joy exuding from heaven's door into our life. This one is Lisa Page Brooks, and it's The Devil is a Liar. But it's like God is literally laughing in heaven about what he's about to do next. And it's something that we haven't even seen or really heard of, because there is doors that are opening in the unseen realm of heaven, and angels being dispersed that are going to give out the blessings that only, they can do through God. And heaven is literally rejoicing because things are about to change. I'm going to get off topic, then I'm going to get on topic. Because y'all just never cease to amaze me in these church houses, I swear. I watched a video of the pastor, the famous pastor around here, taking offerings and having them say out what they're giving. First of all, that is embarrassing. I remember days in church where sometimes I could only put change in the bucket that came around, and to get up and say exactly how much I have. One girl had like $1 and some change, and she had to say her name and that she was given $1 and sewing into this. That is so embarrassing and degrading. You don't know what somebody's going through, and to have them call out the money that they're giving to you in your ministry, even though it's for God, is embarrassing and despicable. And what have we came to? Like, where are we? Are we all okay? Are we all okay? Like, are we all okay if we think that behavior is what God wants us to model? Are we okay? As a clergy, as a church, as a house of God. Like, we witness people sit up there in 3-piece suits and say, so I need $4 million to build this. We've witnessed over and over and over and over again. When is enough enough? We can go on any live stream on any platform and hear them say, sow a seed into this, and you need to pay this, and you need to. When is enough enough? The manipulation of God's people because they're hungry is disgusting and deplorable and despicable. And I, for one, am tired of it. And I can't keep my mouth closed. I won't keep my mouth closed. Whether you sow into me or not is up to you and God. It's not for me to coerce you to say, I need X, Y, and Z. There's been many days me and my kids have went without, even as me being a pastor. Do you think I'm going to get on here and say, right now, guys, I need $20 right now? That is disgusting and despicable behavior. And I want to apologize on behalf of the ones that are too arrogant and narcissistic to apologize that you guys been led wrong. You're not supposed to be embarrassed in a church. You're walking in with the sin of the world on you, and you need to walk out with the Holy Spirit left on you. If you walked in sick, you're going to walk out healed. That's what the church is. That is what I literally, it's in my story. I just had to laugh. I had a laugh that was so comical because you wanted $2,000 and you told her to get in a line that has it. I don't care if you got in a dollar line and you want to put your money in there. It does not matter. It's about order. No, the order that you are in is out. You're out of order. The church has been out of order for a long time, and no one has said anything. It has been out of order, where we make the church a club now, where it looks like I'm going to the club and it feels like I'm going to the club. It is out of order. We hide behind order because that's what God wants us to do, yet there is no order there. In fact, God's people have to come to the internet to feel at home in their own home and in their own skin. The church is out of order, and it's been that way for a long time. I said what I said. Shun me if you're going to shun me. But the second we stop giving them our time, our presence, our money, They're going to continue. You got some people that's going to ride for their pastor even though their pastor is dead wrong. If you ride for God like you ride for your pastor, your life will be different. There is no way that anyone can convince me, not even if I had a conversation with him myself, that that behavior was okay. It was never okay. You should have shut your mouth, thanked her, and kept going. Instead, you let your arrogance and ego get to you. Disgusting. Disgusting. Whether you sow into me or not, that's up to you and God. God provides for me. There isn't a coercion that needs to happen. There isn't a time. And if you've ever been to any of my sermons or any of my preachings, or wherever it might be, whatever state it might be, you will never hear me call for tithes. You will see people trying to make me take them because I don't take them. I had an elder lady in Texas and she was like, don't make me have to pop you to take this. Because God is my provider. I don't need to coerce you and have slow, soft music on to tell you to tithe into me. You already got your mind made up whether you're going to or not. God spoke to you late in the midnight hour. Whatever it might be. I'm done. I wasn't even to make this about this. And I gotta take my mom to the doctor in a minute, so I can't be on too long. I got a 30-minute time limit, then I have to go to her house. I just had to say my piece because I was so bothered. It's so much stuff that they're doing that's bothering me. And they say I'm the weird one. They won't let me in the building. I'm the weird one. I'm the insane one. I'm the one that's out of order. Well, don't let me get in order because I don't want to be no parts of that foolishness. That's what we're witnessing. Foolishness. I'll be the weird one. Okay, back on topic. I just had to say something and they can check me if they're going to check me or they can, I don't care. I don't care. So anyway, last week, thank you. I see you, Kanisha. Last week, we were talking about David and his house and how he lusted after Bathsheba, how he took Uriah and put him on the front line and ended his life. So ultimately, David could marry Uriah's wife. Now, marrying Uriah's wife was never the ultimate goal. He had a lustful moment that turned into a marriage, a murder, and it was like a whole movie. It was literally like a whole movie. Homeboy saw her bathing on the balcony. He was like, "Hey, Bathsheba." She's like, "Hey, David. Hey, David, you called for me, you know?" So she went up there. She laid with David. Next thing you know, she got pregnant. She went and told King David. David was like, go get Uriah. He sent Joab to go get Uriah. Uriah came. He tried to get him intoxicated to go home to your wife, go live with your wife. But Uriah was an admirable man. And he was like, I ain't going for it. I ain't going for it. All my men are out there. I'm not going to go lay with my wife like I'm a king around here. I'm just like a regular person. I'm not going to lay with her. I'm finna go back to war. They was like, you bet you going back to war, but you ain't coming back from the war. So he wrote the little letter up, sent it to Uriah. He was like, okay, Uriah, go get this to Joab. He gave it to Joab. Joab read it. Put Uriah on the front line. Put him in the hottest field. Boom. Uriah dead. He sent word back to David. David told Bathsheba. They mourned him for 30 days and 30 nights. They got married the next day. She had the baby. She was getting ready to have the baby. God sent Nathan. Nathan was a prophet. Nathan went over there and Nathan was like, Nah. Let me give you a parable real quick. What happens if a rich man had all this property and all these goats and this and that, and then a poor man only had one that he raised up like his child, and then somebody wanted to buy it, and he went and bought it from the poor man. The rich man took it from the poor man and gave it to him, and now he ain't got nothing left, and he mourning. And David was like, oh, he surely should die. He surely should die. And then Nathan was like, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about you. God saw what you done in the dark, David. God saw what you done in the dark. So he was like, okay. David's baby died. Now we enter the birth of Solomon. Because David tried to manipulate God, tried to get on his hands, knees, cry, do the stank cry, da-da-da. That didn't happen. Boom. God told David that war would be in his house all the days of his life. The sword is going to be in his life all the days of his life. That his house was going to be an adversary to him. whatever that word is to him. They're going to be going up against each other or whatever. So boom, Solomon's born. God saw Solomon. God saw that he was good. Now he has other kids, which we have Absalom, Amnon, we have Tamar. And now we're getting ready to see what God meant when he said that your house was going to be in turmoil all the days of your life because you have to pay for the sins of your sins of what you did. Now we're introduced to Tamar, which is David's daughter. We introduced to Absalom, and we're introduced to Amnon. Amnon and Absalom and Tamar, they all have the same father, which is David, but they all have different mothers. Well, Absalom and Tamar have the same mother and father. Amnon has a different father. Amnon was in love with a different mother. Amnon was in love with Tamar, his sister, but a sister from another mother. And he loved her so much that, in lust with her so much that he wanted to lay with her, and it made him physically ill. He ran into another one of his cousins who told him, well, why don't you just act like you sick and tell daddy to bring her over so she can make you some food and then you can have your way with her, whatever. So, boom, a plan was set in motion. Amnon was like, oh, daddy, I'm so sick. Can you send Tamar over here to make me some cakes that I can eat out of her hand? And he was like, oh, okay, bet. Tamar, go over there to Amnon house, make him some food. Da da da. She's like, okay, daddy, no problem. Soon as she get there, Amnon was like, can y'all just leave me? All the servants, y'all just leave me. I'm so sick. Tamar, please, I can barely catch my breath. Can you please cook me some cakes and then bring it to me out of my hand? Because I'm so hungry. I'm so sick. I'm so tired. Okay, sure, no problem. Not thinking about it. I know she probably was like, everybody going, okay, whatever. Anyway, making my brother some food. He's going to be feeling better. Next thing you know, she brought it over. He was like, come closer, come closer. She got closer. He pulled her down and she begged him. She was like, please don't do this. My dad will give me to you. Just do it the honorable way. Don't do this. Don't put this shame on me. And he didn't listen to her. He closed her mouth. He did what he wanted to do. And when he was done, he discarded her and he sent her out, and he got the guards to come throw her out as she was nothing. She had a coat of many colors and she took it off and she burned it and she mourned. And now she's having a conversation with her big brother, her brother from her mother, Absalom. And she told him what happened. He act like nothing is wrong, but inside he's fuming because don't you play with his sister. His brother is a protector. His daddy is a warrior. He got his daddy blood in him, which means he got his dog in him. And now it's on sight. So now we're jumping in to 2 Samuel 13, chapter 13, verse 23. I hope that made sense to y'all. I know I did a run through. Okay. Okay. So now we enter into the two brothers about to have a confrontation because one brother raped the other sister. And now Absalom is about to have a confrontation with Amnon about his sister Tamar. Again, God said that war will be inside your house, David, and this is caused from their father. Their father not being able to control his urges so much so that it trickled on to his son Solomon, which we will read about again. Because, Solomon was the wisest man, but Solomon also lost some things because sometimes you can be too wise for your own good. Okay, 13:23. Let's get it. Y'all ready? Let's go. And it came to pass after 2 full years. So Absalom waited 2 years. I bet Amnon was thinking, oh, it's whatever. Ain't nobody checking for me. Daddy ain't checking for me. Absalom ain't checking for me. 2 years went by. 2 years. And this is one thing I love about God because, like, was it Freddie? Jason? Whichever one, Michael Myers, whichever one walk you down when you running. Like, whatever the thing is. And, like, they walk you down. This is what I think about when I think about God saying he's going to get vengeance, because I'll see somebody get walked down by God 20 years later when they think of life is peachy keen. And God's like, nope, remember when? Stripped. Remember when? Death. Remember when? Lost everything. God will let them get good and comfortable. And God will come in and literally snatch it all from them. So anyway, 2 years has passed. 2 years has passed. And it says, and it came to pass after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal Hazor, which is in Ephraim. And so Absalom invited the king's sons. Then Absalom came to the king and said, kindly note, your servant has sheep shears. Please let the king and his servants go with your servant. But the king said to Absalom, "No, my son, let us not all go now, lest we be a burden to you." Then he urged him, but he would not go, and he blessed him. Then Absalom said, "If not, please let my brother Amnon go with us." So he's like, "I got some sheep shears. Let's go. Let's all go out here." You know, I love how he set it all up. He was like, we can all go. Because if I only single out the person that I want, it's going to get kind of, the hairs are going to stick up. The spidey senses are going to kind of stick up. And you're going to be like, you only want him to go? All of us are here. So he extended the invitation to the whole entire kingdom. He said, let's all go. Let's all go. And David was like, "No, son, we're all not going to go. We're going to be a burden." And he was like, "Okay, well then what about Amnon? Come. And the king said to him, "Why should he go with you?" But Absalom urged him. So he let Amnon and all the king's sons go with him. Now Absalom commanded his servants, saying, "Watch now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say to you, strike Amnon, then kill him. Do not be afraid. Have I not commanded you? Be courageous and vigilant, whatever, I don't know. Valiant. That. So the servants of Absalom did to Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all of the king's sons arose, and each of them got on his mule and fled. So it was a setup. He said, "I am going to get him sloppy drunk. Probably because, you know, they're all warriors. Their dad is a warrior, so they ain't want to do no big old fight. And, you know, if you know that somebody's setting you up, you're ready for a fight. Your adrenaline's rushing, you ready. So he was like, we're going to get him relaxed. We're going to get him chill. I want y'all to be strong and courageous and vigilant. And I want you all to strike him and kill him." I like the fact that no questions was asked. And I like the fact that all the sons were there. All the sons were there. You know they all knew. You know they all knew what he had done to Tamar. All the sons of David was there at that table. And all of them watched. And they waited. And they waited. And he got sloppy drunk. And they was back there laughing about old time. Remember when he fell down the stairs? You know, kicking the bobo. Cool. But now he's sloppy drunk, and the servants had their way with him. And then when they were done, all the sons of David got on their horses, and they fled. They left him in the pit of blood where he lay, as like he left Tamar where she lay, and pushed her out as if she was nothing. And when it came to pass, while they were on their way, that news came to David, saying, "Absalom has killed the king's son, and not one of them is left." So the king arose and tore his garment and laid on the floor, and all the servants stood by with their clothes torn. Then Jonadab, the son of Shimei, David's brother, answered and said, "Let not my lord suppose they have killed all the young men, the king's son, for only Amnon is dead. For by the command of Absalom, this has been determined from the day that he forced his sister Tamar. Now, therefore, let not my lord the king take this thing to heart, for only Amnon is dead." So somebody came back. This is why lies. Valiant. Okay. Thank you for valiant. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. You spelled it out for me. I'm like, girl, I don't know how to say that. Anyway, so this is why word of mouth can be a blessing and a curse, right? So the word of mouth got back to King David, and it said that all of his sons were killed by Absalom. King David and the servants tore their clothes because David's like, all of my babies are dead. Here comes the one that told Amnon how to lay with Tamar, and he's like, no, not all your sons are dead, just Amnon. And it was determined because what he did to Tamar years ago. He was just waiting. So David feels a little bit better, but it's just like, dang, I still lost a son in the end. But you also lost a daughter. She's still alive, but she's dead inside. She lost trust. She lost everything. Like, I don't know if you've ever been on the receiving end of getting raped or anything like that, but it takes years and years and years and years and years for that to go out. I still, when I tell you, don't walk up on me in public without saying something, because I will still turn around and just reflex hit you, because it's just things that have been done that are still years down the road being worked out. What was it, 2 days ago when I was in the dollar store, I was minding my business, and I'm still trying to figure out who I am. Identity crisis. And she was like, hey, Miss Landaria. In my head, I was just looking. I was like, hi. And I'm still looking back. And she's like, from Facebook. Oh, Landaria, girl. It's bigger than me. I got to remember now I'm known in my hometown. Now, okay, boom. But it's an identity crisis that you go through. You don't trust, you don't eat, you don't sleep, you jump in your sleep. All these things are happening. So she's alive, but she's dead inside. And it's 2 years, and 2 years isn't enough to get over any kind of rape, baby, especially one from your brothers. That is not even scraping the icing. That is not doing anything. 2 years does nothing. I don't care how much therapy you got in the world. I don't care. It don't matter. That is not enough time. So baby girl is walking dead. That girl is walking dead. And now he is dead. Her brother said, I'm going to get your honor back. So David didn't do nothing, although David knew. He let his son, because it's his son, still walk around there. Instead of shunning him, she still had to see him. So Absalom was like, well, if my daddy don't want to do it, I got it. And he took matters into his own hands. Now we're about to see what happens next before we get into 14:36. Then Absalom fled. So they went and told the king that all the sons were dead. The cousin, the one that suggested that he lay down and be sleep or whatever, or sick or whatever, went to him and he was like, no, it's just Amnon. And it was because what he did to Tamar. You knew. Like, this is why you got to be careful about who you're around anyway, because you have to have wise counsel in your life. He went to his cousin. And he told his cousin that he's physically sick because he feels this way about his sister. And instead of his cousin being wise counsel, his cousin told him some deceptive things. His cousin was like, oh, act like you sick, da-da-da-da, and daddy will have her come feed you. If you were around wise counsel, they would have told you those thoughts are not your thoughts. Those aren't your thoughts. You're not supposed to feel that way about your sister. You need to talk to daddy and talk to him about what's happening in your head. You really need to get some counseling. That's not okay. That's not okay. You should not think that way about your sister. But instead, he went and he got bad counsel, and it egged his bad behavior, and it fed that bad part of him. Be careful who's feeding you. Who's ever feeding you has control over you. And he heard the words that he wanted to hear. This is why you be with people that hold you accountable no matter what. You should have said no. Thank you, Pastor Elise. Oh, she bought this, y'all. Anyway, be with people that hold you accountable for your actions. He should have been held accountable for what he had been thinking and what he was about to do. No one around him held him accountable even after he did this egregious thing to his sister. He was still allowed to walk around like a king, as if his stuff didn't stink. He was able to still walk around. No one held him accountable, not even his father. And who knows how many other encounters he had like this, because he was never held responsible. Well, if you want to be a rabid dog, they have places for you. Who knows what he did in between that 2-year period, and how many other sisters he did, and how many other maidservants he did. Because if you're allowed to get away with something once, you might try it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. He was never held accountable. So now, here's his accountability. And sadly, it's the grave. It's the grave, right? So it says, then Absalom fled. And the young man who was keeping watch lifted his eyes and looked, and there many people were coming from the road and on the hillside behind him. And Jonadab said to the king, "Look, the king's sons are coming, as your servant said. So it is." So it is, as soon as he had finished speaking, the king's sons indeed came, and they lifted their voices and wept. Also the king and all the servants wept very bitterly. But Absalom fled and went to Tamar. Tamar, I think my thing is cut off. The son, Tamali, the son of, I don't know that man's name, the king of Jasher. And David mourned for his son every day. So Absalom fled and went to Gashur, and was there for 3 years. And King David longed to go to Absalom, for he had been comforted concerning Amnon, because he was dead. David did not want to harm his son. Let's put it there. David did not want to harm his son. He just didn't want to lose another one. What Absalom didn't realize was David wasn't going to hurt him. David was not going to hurt him. He was hurtful and sorrowful for his son, Amnon, but he knows there's consequences to actions, especially the bad actions. David mourned for his daughter too. It was just a mesh pot of chaos and just unfortunate events. And David was still a dad at the end of the day, so he had to choose his son or his daughter or both, or he just didn't know what to do. So sometimes if you don't know what to do, you do nothing at all. And doing nothing at all is being complacent to the bad behavior. So David was complacent, unbeknownst to him, to Amnon's bad behavior and putting Tamar last and not first. And yes, it is your daughter, but she's an honorable daughter. She was a virgin that had her innocence snatched. And the only way to get it back was in blood. Blood was broken and blood was spilled. Sadly, that was the case. So Absalom fled and Amnon died, and there were 2 mournings that day. David had to mourn the loss of his son and burying his son, and then the loss of his other son because he fled for 3 years. Didn't know if his son was alive or dead. It was 2 funerals that day. And 3 if you count Tamar, who's still walking around in mourning clothes of her innocence that was snatched and her identity that was snatched. This was a whole lot of. All because of David and his lustful ways that spewed into his children. Because curses transfer. The lustful spirit that David had, that he had never broke, even in his old age, went to his children. We'll see it in Solomon later on. We see it in Amnon here. It carried, and it carried. Some demons that we fight and some demons that we have inside of us aren't even ours. They're transferred from generations and generations before. We don't just get our looks and our DNA from our family, our mother, our father. We get the curses that come along with them too that they don't break. Congratulations. We have a bundle of joy. This is why we have to do the inner work every single day. And if you have kids, you definitely have to do the inner work to not give them that. You know what we're breaking? We're breaking generational curses even now as we speak. Even the way we take our kids to McDonald's when we got food at home. Remember, you were told, you got food at home. You got McDonald's money? Yeah, we do. The other day, my baby said they didn't want what was in the house. It was almost 10. I say, get y'all shoes on. We going to McDonald's. We getting a doggone Happy Meal. I don't want this food in here either. We're breaking things that were placed upon us at a young age. We're doing the hard work. The work that David should have did so his children didn't have to. But now we're watching his children have to fight this thing out. Tomorrow we're going to come to chapter 14. And we're going to go to Absalom returning back to Jerusalem with David. And then we're going to have David, reconcile with his son. And then Absalom, he just keeps going. Anyway, so we're gonna join in a little deeper. It is almost 30 after. I got to go get my mom for her appointment. But yes, we are breaking things that were placed upon us from years and years and years and years ago. Years ago. All right, so I'm gonna leave it like that because I really gotta go out. My mom, I'm gonna call in just a second. All right, I love you all, and y'all have a good day. And I'm gonna try to come on a little later. I really been in my notes heavy, and I've been passing them out here and there. I just feel like that God is doing something new. We're witnessing the narcissistic breaking. If you don't know what that is, it's the disgusting, deplorable, detestable behavior being held accountable for once in its entirety. And God is bringing out truth more than ever. The truth had been shunned and been told that it was bad, when the truth is good and the darkness is bad, and the absence of God is darkness and the presence of God is light, and he is raising up some light. He's raising up some light, and you all are about to be seen and heard. You're about to be seen and heard in a different way. Anyway, all right, I love you all, and I pray that this message was a blessing and it hit home in some ways, and it wasn't too heavy. I know that it's a heavy word, but I hope that you understand that having people around you that hold you accountable can be a make or break. A make or break. I love you all. Until next time. The devil is a liar. I know he is.